Why some people fear being happy. Have you ever noticed how some people seem uncomfortable when life is finally going well? After months or even years of struggle, they reach a moment of peace, success, or genuine happiness. Yet instead of relaxing into it, they become anxious. They start overthinking, expecting something to go wrong, or even creating problems where none exist. It sounds strange at first. After all, happiness is something most people spend their lives chasing. So why would anyone fear it once they finally have it? Maybe you've experienced this yourself. Perhaps there was a moment when everything felt right, but instead of enjoying it, a quiet voice in your mind whispered that it wouldn't last. Maybe you found yourself waiting for bad news, preparing for disappointment, or feeling oddly uncomfortable with your own success. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, psychology offers several fascinating explanations for why happiness can sometimes feel threatening rather than comforting. One of the most common reasons involves something known as defensive pessimism. This is a psychological strategy where people lower their expectations to protect themselves from future disappointment. Over time, some individuals become so accustomed to expecting problems that optimism begins to feel dangerous. When life is difficult, their worldview feels confirmed. But when life becomes peaceful, uncertainty appears. They start wondering what hidden problem they haven't noticed yet. Imagine someone who spent years dealing with rejection, failure, or instability. Their mind gradually learned that disappointment was normal. Then one day, they enter a healthy relationship, achieve a meaningful goal, or find emotional stability. Logically, this should feel rewarding, yet emotionally, it can feel unfamiliar. And unfamiliar experiences often trigger caution. The brain is not always designed to maximize happiness. Its primary job is survival. Sometimes survival means treating even positive changes with suspicion. Another powerful explanation comes from attachment theory. The emotional patterns we develop in childhood often influence how we experience happiness as adults. People who grew up in unpredictable environments may learn that good moments rarely lasted. A joyful experience might have been followed by criticism, conflict, or loss. Over time, the brain begins linking happiness with vulnerability. As adults, these individuals may unconsciously associate positive emotions with future pain. When things are going well, they don't simply enjoy the moment. Instead, they prepare for the possibility that something will take it away. It's almost as if their mind is trying to soften the impact of a future disappointment before it happens. This creates a difficult cycle. The happier they become, the more alert they feel. The more alert they feel, the harder it becomes to fully experience happiness. What appears from the outside as negativity is often a deeply learned form of emotional self-protection. There is also a fascinating concept known as fear of positive evaluation. Most people are familiar with the fear of criticism, but fewer realize that praise can feel uncomfortable too. Success often brings visibility. Visibility brings expectations, and expectations bring pressure. For some individuals, happiness and achievement are not just rewards, they are responsibilities. Getting promoted may create anxiety about maintaining performance. Entering a healthy relationship may create fears about losing it. Achieving a long-term goal may raise uncomfortable questions about what comes next. In this sense, happiness can feel like standing at a greater height. The view is beautiful, but the potential fall feels larger as well. The higher people rise, the more aware they become of what they could lose. As a result, some unconsciously limit their own happiness to avoid the emotional risk that comes with it. Personality traits can also play a role. People high in neuroticism tend to experience emotions more intensely, particularly uncertainty and perceived threats. Even during positive experiences, their attention naturally shifts toward potential problems.
What's interesting is that the fear of happiness is rarely about happiness itself. More often, it is about what happiness represents. For some, it represents vulnerability. For others, uncertainty. For others still, it challenges an identity built around struggle and survival. Think about someone who has spent years defining themselves through hardship. Their resilience, their determination, and even their sense of self may be connected to overcoming difficulties. When life becomes easier, they may unconsciously wonder who they are without the struggle. The absence of problems can feel strangely disorienting because it requires adopting a new identity, one that is no longer organized around survival. Perhaps the most important thing to understand is that fearing happiness does not mean there is something wrong with you. It often means your mind learned certain lessons from past experiences and continues applying them long after the original threat has disappeared. The brain prefers familiar emotions, even uncomfortable ones, because familiarity creates a sense of predictability. The challenge is recognizing when old emotional patterns are shaping present experiences. Sometimes the greatest act of growth is not learning how to pursue happiness. It is learning how to stay with it once it arrives. So the next time you notice yourself waiting for something to go wrong during a good moment, ask yourself a simple question. Am I responding to what's happening now, or am I responding to what happened before? The answer may reveal more about your relationship with happiness than you ever expected. And perhaps true emotional maturity is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to experience joy, even when certainty is impossible. Because happiness was never meant to be a guarantee. It was meant to be experienced. If you